Okay, welcome back to our Home Track Hero Show, CW11 action from Evergreen Speedway. Great Buzz-In Steakhouse Stinger 8 race. We're going to keep it on our figure 8 course. Debuting for 2021, our Monroe Grocery Outlet Superstock figure 8s. A lot of familiar names in this. A lot more horsepower, a lot more action, and some pretty good stuff coming up.
You bet. So why don't we run through the lineup?
Let's do that, shall we? In the number 13 is going to be Dawson Cox. And outside of Dawson on the front row in the number 72, sponsored by Pilchuck Heating, is Jeff Talbert. Then we go another row back to the 55JE of Jessica Wilkinson, who's looking for sponsors. Wouldn't turn down anything, get a hold of her. That's a good car to be on. The 007 of Jim Powers makes out the outside second row, brought to you by Rich's Car Corner.
In the third row, it's the 64 car of Eric Allison. Eric is sponsored by Rosella Art Gallery in Snohomish. Outside of Allison in the 01 is Doug the Grizz Delfell.
We will get into some serious Doug Delfell conversation as this race goes on. An amazing, amazing human being.
In row 4, it's the 67 of Mackenzie Dietz in the BECU car out of Monroe. Outside is the 36 of Mike Stelz. Mike returned after a number of years running figure 8 cars, then went to Skagit Speedway and has been running a modified on the dirt up there, and for whatever reason, back in a figure 8 car. In the fifth and final row, the 17 car, it's the one-arm bandit, Quentin Borison. Don't think they're going to go for another championship, but it's good to see him here. And outside of him is last year's champion, defending champion, the 32 car of Steve Cox.
As we mentioned, a couple of interesting stories coming up that we're going to be telling you about. Mike Stelz, obviously one of them, a former champion in the Outlaw Figure 8 division, and as Tom mentioned, been running up at Skagit Speedway in some modifieds. Eric Allison just got his car put together prior to coming out, so keep an eye on that one too. That's at number 64 there. Doug Delfell in that yellow 01 car. We can take 30 laps, just talk about how cool
that car is. Probably older than dirt. It's been wrecked more times than anything. And Doug, it just, takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
That's exactly right. Just same way Doug does. Well, he comes out by himself, pretty much does everything on the car by himself, loads it up by himself. And not that he doesn't want help. He would take and gets all sorts of help. But people just gravitate towards that cat, and with good reason.
Here we go with the green flag in the air.
All right, here we go. Let's fire this baby off. Jeff Talbert in the 72. Here's a sweet shot. If you were Eric Allison's bumper, this is what you'd be seeing.
Just gave a little root right to the back end of Wilkinson. They head on down the court. And we'll just give another one. A little kiss. Just a little kiss.
Yeah, a little something to let you know I'm here. Good side view of Jim Powers in that 007 car. That's kind of a throwback to a car that raced out here many years ago, I understand.
Look how those cars kind of dance around, Steve. You think they'd go in the corner and it'd be a nice, easy arc, and around they go, but they're dancing all over that racetrack. Let's another little shot in the back end. When the lights go out, you know they've run out of room.
Yeah, when it gets dark, you know they're just as close as they're going to get. But they are headed down into turn number 1. Yeah, that was really cool. Thanks a lot for sending that one. Again, that was Eric Allison, the bumper view on the number 64 car. Pretty much kind of how they started off. You see Jessica Wilkinson carving her way up into that second spot with Eric Allison in the third spot behind him. Doug Delfell in that 01. I know I'm going to be the president of the Doug Delfell fan club. I'm A-okay with that. That guy can do nothing wrong in my book.
4 laps in, and Dawson Cox is like a quarter of a lap out in front. I mean, that cat is gone. Look at there. You can see him just about a half a lap now as he heads down into that north end, the left-hander. Just nice, smooth, easy, except only at some point he's got to start heading through this big old pack of cars, and I don't see any space to drive through there.
Yeah, Dawson Cox just term that I try and avoid is he's in another zip code. That's where he's
time zone.
At. Yeah, that's right.
Even just as bad.
And just looking good. Almost a half a lap ahead of the field. As Eric Allison still looking strong in that third spot. Looks like Eric has gotten around. Mackenzie Dietz has made her way up into that third spot. That familiar number 67 car.
And Mackenzie Dietz is a bank manager by day. Can you imagine? Oh, Mackenzie, what'd you do over the weekend? I drove my figure 8 car. Okay, first of all, what's a figure eight car? And the second question would be, why?
Why?
I mean, can you imagine? I mean, you think of a banker, kind of stodgy, stuffy, not too exciting people, and I don't think you put Mackenzie Dietz in that category.
Just a sweetheart of a gal, too. We had her on our kind of season recap show that we did a few weeks ago. She just represented everything so well. I was so proud of her. She represented the division well, the Evergreen Speedway well. You could not go wrong by getting your business name on the side of that car.
Well, and the other part of that is the granddaughter of Vern Dietz, the crazy Cajun who, was one of the, I'm going to say gods of figure eight racing here at Evergreen Speedway. And she was very open and honest about the pressure that she feels to represent that family name. And she says, I don't ever want to disappoint my grandpa. But man, when you get down in the figure eight car, you got to go into a little bit different mold. We got a car parked at the intersection that's probably not a good place, and we go yellow for the number 72 of Jeff Talbert.
Yeah, and that is going to wipe out that monumental lead that Dawson Cox had in that number 13 car as Talbert is going to wait for Cascade push trucks to come help him out. That'll give us a minute to tell you about the fine people over my left shoulder, and that is Sparkle Wash of Linwood. If you're looking for a high-quality, reliable, cost-effective pressure washing company, you found it. Sparkle Wash cleans houses to multi-floor office buildings and everything in between. No project is too big or too small. Go to sparklewash.com for a free quote. That's Sparkle Wash, professional washing, pressure washing for over 55 years in the Puget Sound area. I'm going to send them my address because I got stuff I need for those guys to do. So thank you so much to Sparkle Wash of Linwood for being out here in the 2021 season. Okay, we're going to get a few laps here as we get them lined back up and ready to go. It has so far been the Dawson Cox show. His dad, Steve Cox, you can see him lurking there in the fourth spot. Got Mackenzie Dietz in the third spot, Eric Allison in the 64 up ahead of him. And I got a ton of respect for Eric Allison, too, because that guy races as best he can when he can. And I made a comment, they showed it on his Facebook page the other day. He had a picture of how he gets his car to the track. And I had made a comment about how I think he should get style points just for the way he brings his car. It's on an open trailer, and you and I have spent hours talking about how they should get points.
They should get more money. We're spending Doug's money. Let's just give him more money for the win. If it comes in on open trailer. Here we got a split screen. Now you're inside the 17 car, Quentin Borison.
And you are going to see try and see how he does it. You see one hand? That's because that's all he's got. And just has for 5 consecutive years in that 17 Dave Brandenburg owned car, has won championships out here, and he's an amazing guy. We say that about pretty much everybody that runs out here. You can find something in this group of figure eight racers with.
But think about it. He has to shift, steer, look, and drive that race car all, which to us, when you have two arms to do that. He did lose it in an industrial accident. You can see him, and he's as smooth as anybody's ever been in a figure eight car.
Yeah, just an absolutely amazing person. He comes from a great family, the Zaretsky family that's been out here. I mean, we talked about the Dietzes, and you can throw the Zaretsky family in that very same sentence. And Quentin stepdad is Carl Zaretsky, who always, it's a good thing that this show we don't get bleeped out on, because the way that Carl Zaretsky greets you or greets me, it's something you can't get across.
You're right.
On public television.
That's right.
We're sure glad
he waves at you.
He does wave at us. Does a very good job.
We've got a situation going right here. Dawson was way out in front. We're back into this restart for a number of laps, and he's not pulling away from Eric Allison in that 74 or 64 car. Excuse me. Now in the third spot is dear old dad, Steve. Steve is, I just kind of know how Steve goes about this. If he gets to Dawson, it might be an interesting show. It might be a bad time around the breakfast table tomorrow morning.
Yeah, Easter was the next day. forget about that, as we are at the halfway point for our Monroe Grocery Outlet Superstock figure eights. And again, so cool to have Monroe Grocery Outlet back in this division again. And sure welcome to the new owners, the Gordon's family. Happy to have them out here. They are in for a treat this year, getting behind this division. Their support of this track is going to stay. They realize the value of a local business doing business with another local business. The people who benefit are these people that you see on the TV screen right now. 13 to go. It's still Dawson Cox, Eric Allison hanging in there strong, but
just got past.
Yep, just got past.
So now it's son earning number 1 and dad in the 32 car in that number 2 spot. So we'll see how quickly he can get closed up with just 12 laps to go.
I think it would be kind of fun for Tom, for you to play the role of Dawson Cox, in his mind, and I'll play the role of Steve Cox. That's what his mind.
I'm looking in the mirror knowing that dad had the years and years of experience, a tough SOB in a race car, and I'd be going, oh crap.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, as good as Dawson Cox is, he still doesn't have the experience, the wherewithal that Steve has in a figure 8 car. And right now, Dad's getting ready to ring the doorbell.
Yeah, and it is such a neat thing to be able to watch. And those two raced each other so clean. As we've got 10 laps to go to be 9 when we come across the start-finish line. But you know that Dawson is doing everything he can think of to keep his dad penned in there, and Steve is doing everything he can. How am I going to get around this guy? I really don't want to.
Stephen, he has to be very careful. You know, he's looking in that mirror, but if he looks in that mirror too long and misses the corner, slides up, you know that Dad's going to eat him right there on the spot. So he's got to make sure he hits his mark. And if you don't think that Steve is driving the wheels off that thing, watch the run of that car. It's slid out a couple times here, you know, these last 2 or 3 laps, because he's trying to lay every bit of power down to that asphalt that he can. And he looks up front and sees lap cars, and then it's kind of like blood in the water.
Yeah, good job by the lap cars. I'm trying to get around to see the 007 doing a nice job. Jim Powers knew they were coming, just got out of the way and let him go. Same way with the 55 car of Jessica Wilkinson, taking it slow, knowing that those two are ready to do battle, and do battle they will. Good run on that turn by Dawson. Picked up a little bit of space in between the front bumper of Steve Cox's car.
As he heads down those straightaways, he's probably reaching up and pulling on those seat belts just a bit tighter, because Dad's coming, and Dad's gonna, you know, Steve's never used the chrome horn on anybody, the front bumper in his career, never.
I don't, you know, and Steve Cox, I think, is one of the most naturally gifted figure. I mean, you know, he spent quite a few years running in the super stocks back in the day and the late models back in the day, and had some good results and looked good in it. But in a figure 8 car, that guy just shifts into another gear. As we see Mackenzie Dietz get spun around there at the top of turn number 1 as they go into the figure 8 course. She'll get the thing back underway, and the laps are winding down.
Only 3 more to go, just 2.5 laps actually. And you see the Grizz right there, Doug Delfell right in front of him. And you know that Steve Cox is grinning from ear to ear. This is, you know, I mean, driving a race car is cool. Watching your kid is very exciting. Watching your kid right in front of you, priceless. Priceless.
Doug Delfell keeping out of the way there as the 13 of Dawson Cox. Going to work him up on the outside as Steve Cox is going to try and take a look on the inside. Hopefully Delfell is going to wash up. Doug didn't quite do it. He'll still hang on, but it's getting close. We are 1 to go.
You see the old man's on the outside, just not a great turn right there at the south end. Dawson with just a little bit of room. I think at this particular point in time, he's going to probably follow Doug right around and take that checkered flag. There it is, Dawson Cox.
Yeah, that was such a cool race. It was so much fun. We'll get him cooled down a bit. We'll get him up to our Angel of the Winds platform. It was just so neat to be able to see those two when they got out. And both of them were so excited. They've got a lot more racing to do this season, I'm sure.
That was so much fun to watch. It had to be great for you sitting?
Kinda. I was stressed out of my mind. As soon as I saw my dad got in second, I was pretty much like, I'm just gonna run as fast as I can, and Brady's not right behind me, and I knew he was. Yeah, I got bumped by him a couple times. I was probably one of the most fun and stressful at the same time in a race that I've ever had. It was an absolute blast looking back at it now that the race is over and the car's in one piece. Because this isn't my car. Thursday, Bruce Bueller wanted someone to drive his car, and he asked, and I was like, sure. And then wasn't positive, and then we got here, and then he's like, you're in, and we might run a couple more races. He said depending on how this night went, and I think it went pretty all right. So I'd like to thank my sponsors, Black Thunder Transport and Bruce Bueller.
Very well done. Good job. The winner tonight, Dawson Cox. And I have been at this for a long time. How are you, buddy? Good to see you.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good.
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, how much fun was that?
Well, it was a blast. Anytime you get to race with your son, and he is the best. So mine's experience, his is seat in the pants. He's that good.
He is really good. Talk about anybody helping you out while we got the chance.
Say that again.
Talk about who's helping you out.
Oh, Tommy Gap. He puts everything together. I don't do anything at all except wreck it or finish, hopefully. But yeah, it's thanks to him, the towing company, Black Thunder Towing. There it is.
All right, good job. Steve Cox finishing second place tonight. Our good man, Eric Ellison. How are you, buddy?
Doing great, actually. Thank you.
Good to be back, huh?
Yeah, with fans in the stands, this is awesome.
Talk about who's helping you out.
We got a new sponsor this year. It's Rosella Art Gallery out there in Snohomish. Also have GM Northwest Performance Auto Repair, and me, myself, and I.
Works every time. Really impressive run tonight. Third place, the 64 of Eric Allison.